Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining me today in the Locher Room. I'm Alan Locher. Melissa Claire Egan originated the role of Chelsea Lawson on The Young and the Restless in November 2011 and played that role until February of 2018. And Elizabeth Hendrickson originated the role of Chloe Mitchell back in February of 2008. Both of these talented actresses returned to the show in June of 2019, and fans could not be happier to have them back stirring up trouble. Melissa and Elizabeth will fill us in on what's going on in Genoa City and share memories of their time working in Pine Valley. It is my pleasure to welcome to the Locher Room Melissa Claire Egan and Elizabeth Hendrickson. Hi there.
Hi.
Hi, ladies. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And I said this backstage, but I will say it in front of the camera. Congratulations to you, Melissa.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we will. It must be an exciting time, but we'll talk about that later, and especially to you, Elizabeth, because congratulations to you. I can't believe you gave birth during a pandemic, but we'll get there. Take me back to learning about these roles the first time on Young and the Restless. What do you remember about? I don't know, because you came from from having worked previously. I don't know if you had to audition or you had screen tests, but how did these roles come to be for both of you?
Well, I believe the way I found myself at Y&R was that I had some conversations beforehand about possibly coming back to daytime, and the timing wasn't really right. And then they kind of called. They called after seeing. Oh yeah, I had done a few one acts, and I was starring opposite Greg Rickard, and there was the head of daytime at the time, someone else, but she saw me and she called me to have an interview, and I came in, and then they ended up creating a role for me. And it was actually just supposed to be a few episodes. And then it was actually during a writer's strike. So they weren't even offering contracts. Like it was a wild, weird time in the industry. And somehow 8 episodes turned into, 8+ years. So wow. I was really lucky. It all just kind of happened organically, and it was all meant to be. And yeah, it was fun because they actually nothing was written about the character. So they kind of were like, so we have this idea for a character. This is her name and this is what she does. And I kind of had the freedom to do whatever I wanted with her. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It has to be a nice feeling to have a character created.
It really was. It was the first experience I had really ever had with the opportunity to really just start from a blank page. And I decided I kind of wanted to make her feisty and have something to say, aka bitchy. And and I had never really played that kind of character before. I had always kind of been like the girl next door, or just like the girl on the wrong side of the tracks. And I was like, I just want to be like feisty and like cause trouble and kind of play the villain for the first time. So that's what I decided to do.
I believe you are. That's great. That's really great. I mean, I'm sure bitchier is always much more fun.
It's so much more fun.
You can get away with it on television.
It's so much more fun.
In person.
Exactly.
In real life.
Exactly.
In real life.
Yeah.
And for you, Melissa?
Yeah, it was the fall of 2011, and Maria Bell was meeting with girls. I didn't actually have to audition because I just come from all my children, but she was meeting with people actually in these offices that we're doing this from, and just talking to actors about the role. And I was lucky enough that she gave me the part. And I think it was like the first thing I didn't have to audition for ever. But yeah, I felt so lucky. And that was like 9+ years ago now.
That's got to be a nice feeling for both of you. I mean, in a business where it is really.
Yeah. Listen, it's really nice not to have to audition. I will say, like, I think that was my first experience too, especially coming from someone who is an awful auditioner. and because my nerves always get the best of me.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Is it the nerves that just get you?
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're testing, you sit in a room, you're waiting, you see all of your competition, they're all looking at their sides. You walk in, you have a long table of, executives. It's not like you're not like necessarily on stage in your,
right. But
every environment's different.
You did test though, because you were on stage with Greg.
But I didn't know I was being tested.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a big difference for the nerves. You're right. Big difference for your
I didn't even know she was in the audience. I had no idea.
That's even better when you're doing something on stage, for sure. So Chelsea had a stroke back in January. She's began to recover, but soon your progress, you've kept a secret and recruited Chloe in the revenge plot against Adam and faking your slow progress, and accusing Adam of poisoning my pal Jordy, Ray. Are you two having fun scheming together?
Yes, it's so
we always have fun. But I just want to say quickly, watching Missy is, I mean, so I would never be able to be playing what she's playing. It's not easy to do things like that, and I love watching her do it because she's such a pro. It's so believable. She makes it work. It's really fun to watch. And you're just doing a really great job with this storyline. It's really good.
Awesome. Clark, one of our fans, actually said, I was wondering for you, Melissa, how it's been playing a part in a wheelchair and having to play silently at first. Right. Was that difficult?
Yeah, it's definitely a new challenge. This summer will be my 15-year anniversary of doing soaps, and I've never had any kind of storyline like this, because as actors, you really use your body and your voice as, tools. And so being able to not use those was definitely a new challenge and an interesting challenge. But luckily I've had amazing co-stars to help me through it. And that are so supportive. And I've been happy with it and proud of it. And the fans are so supportive about it. I was definitely a little nervous about it in the beginning though, when Josh Griffith told me the story and was, because you're like, you just at the beginning too. I remember the first time I was in a scene with Mark Grossman in the hospital, and I frowned when he first sees Chelsea, and the director was like, so no frowning. You can't even frown. You literally can only use your eyeballs. I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
But you just get used to it, and I was grateful for the challenge for sure.
Wow, that really is a challenge.
Yeah,
well, you just mentioned. Easy. Yeah. Was there anything you did to research or,
Sure, yeah. Oh, I did a lot of research on stroke patients, and just what they go through and everything. But then everything that was scripted, you just had to kind of just study and do your best. But of course I researched what stroke victims go through and people that can't speak and all that stuff.
Yeah. You just mentioned Mark. Will you talk about what it's like working with him? He's
the best. I adore him. It's so funny in these shows. It's I've worked with him almost every day for the past 2 years since I came back, and now I never see the guy. I'm like, you've grown an inch. Hey, and because you just have stories even Lizzie, I'm so good at working with each other today because she's been working with other people. I'm getting jealous.
Sorry.
Relationship.
I did with a couple other characters the past couple days.
Yeah. I'm like, what? You're cheating on me? But you get so used to working with people every day, and then the story changes. And so anyway, I adore Mark. He's so good. He's wonderful. He's such a good actor, and he's just fun to be around. I miss him. I don't even see him anymore. How is he doing? I don't know.
He seems to be doing really well.
Great. Thank you. Tell him I say hi.
And he had a massive amount of dialogue, and I'm always just so impressed. He's such a professional. He had so much to do. And he just knows it backwards and forwards. And he's always really goofy when he's running lines with you.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to concentrate because I'm what are the lines? What are the lines? And he's knows them backwards and forwards, and it's just flipping them all over the place. He's a lot of fun.
He could be doing a backhand spring and still know his lines.
Totally.
Talent. That's talent right there.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, you mentioned, being on stage with Greg. Now, did you know Greg from All My Children, from, the business, or?
Yeah, so I had known him, I think I think the first time I met him might have been at the Emmys or something like that, or maybe we had some mutual friends, but there was some sort of common circle that we would cross paths here and there. Oh yeah, I think he was like playing dodgeball with some of my best friends at one point, and he would just kind of always come in throughout my life here and there, and then finally we actually are the ones who gave the writers the idea to make us a couple. We just thought one day it would be so fun if we were like, how great would it be? And we would show up to the parties when Maria and Bell was the executive producer, and we would show up and we'd be like, us together, wouldn't we be cute? Wouldn't we be cute? And then all of a sudden they started writing us together, and then they made us a couple. So
smart. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's so fun. Giving them the idea. And what's it like to work with him?
Oh, we just have a blast. I yesterday was the first day I worked with him in a few months. He hasn't been here in a little bit, and I've missed him so much. And we just, it's great because you kind of just, when you work with someone for so long, if you don't see them in 3 days or 3 months, you really just pick up right from where you last saw each other. But the one thing that Greg and I always have a really hard time with is not laughing during scenes, because he just always has like the best faces when he has his reactions, and it just always cracks me up. And he was doing it yesterday, and I haven't worked with him in a while, so I'm a little, when we're working a lot, I can get through it and I don't get the giggles. But when I don't see him for a long time, the giggles really come back really easily. And it's helpful too with the masks, because at least in rehearsal, I can like hide my smile behind my mask while we're working. So it was really good to see him. It's always a blast to work together. We always have such a great time. And yeah, I mean, the three of us, when we work together,
it helps a lot.
We call ourselves Three's Company. It's like literally the best.
It helps when you all get along. It's
really fun. We're so lucky.
Yeah, it helps. So you both came in, from other employment, All My Children, other jobs, but you came into Y&R, which has a ton of veterans, and you two are new to the Genoa City family. Was there somebody when you first arrived who took you under their wing and showed you the ropes, or made you feel, part of the family right away?
I worked with Amelia and Billy a lot in the beginning, and they certainly did. They'd both been here a long time, and my storyline, I came in pregnant with Billy's baby, so I worked with them a lot, and they're amazing. So I had a lot of fun with them. So that was great. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if anyone really had taken me under their wing necessarily. Yeah, I'm like, where was someone? But I knew Amelia also from All My Children, so she was a friendly face. The West Coast and the East Coast soaps were not as, because we're on, really different coasts. It was like an East-West kind of, not rivalry by any means, but the parties and the things like that. So the West Coast soap was very new for me. Everything was new. I remember telling Eden Regal when she was like, how is it over there? I was like, oh my God, it's so great. They make you so tan. Like they painted me from my head to my toes. I'm 3 shades darker. They have so much fun. They're all like joking around and having the best time. This is like the best place to work. And Amelia was definitely one of those people that I was having a good time with. And then Billy came along. Missy and Billy worked with each other at All My Children. I just missed Billy and Missy. So when I left, they kind of had just come in. So I knew about them. I'd seen their work. We had mutual friends, of course, but I hadn't worked with them yet.
Right. Yeah, we were passing in the night at All My Children. We never got to work together then.
Yeah.
No, they missed an opportunity.
Oh. But look at us now.
Yeah.
Look at you now. Exactly. Who or what influenced you both on becoming actresses?
We should have brought our cane.
Yeah, you should bring your cane. My top hat.
Your
Sorry,
top
Chelsea
hat.
Sorry, inside joke.
Spoiler alert, Chelsea had a cane last week because she's making it. So Liz and I had a lot of fun with the cane. That was a lot of fun. One singular sensation. Every Liz. We just make it fun, you know?
Yeah, we have too much fun.
You both are theater geeks. So,
Totally.
right?
We are.
Yes.
We are.
I read that.
But I guess I was really lucky. I come from a family that my grandfather was in the business. My grandmother was an artist. Everyone really on my mother's side of the family was really involved in the arts. So I was very lucky from a very young age that was supported and really just all around me. And my grandfather was really the one who kind of, he really did everything for me when it became real, when it became like a thing that I was like, okay, I really want to do this. But I really do think that he was my biggest influence because I saw him working in the business. I was around it. He helped me get my first agent. He took me my first professional audition. He helped me get my headshots. He helped me read scripts. We printed out my scripts. It came on fax. I'm really aging
I love
myself.
your grandfather.
Yeah.
I love your grandfather. That's awesome.
So I was really lucky.
And you studied musical theater at Syracuse and then went to Fordham. Which Fordham?
Yeah. So I studied at Syracuse for musical theater, but I was still auditioning when I was going home in the city. And then I had actually booked all my children. So I decided to leave school. And but my parents were not ready for me to leave school just yet. So I transferred to Fordham. And then finally I said to them, listen, I can't study and learn 20 pages of dialogue. I'm paying my own rent. I'm quitting school. And I quit school.
Were you at Lincoln Center or in the Bronx?
Yeah, I was at Lincoln Center.
My husband graduated from the Bronx.
Oh, yeah, it was a great school. I had actually then decided to not study theater there. I was going to NYU for classes. I decided that I didn't want to be graded for my art, so I decided to take classes at NYU, and then I transferred to communications. And but then
when you can afford your own
communications, I'm never going to be a journalist, so I quit. And then
you can afford your own rent, you can quit school.
And I was on my own at 20 years old, and I have been ever since.
That's amazing. And for you, Melissa, who or what influenced you?
I think just at a really young age, just my mom, no one in my family was in the arts really, but my mom always took me to Broadway musicals growing up. I grew up an hour outside the city, as did Liz, right? You were about an hour outside the city? Yeah. My mom always took me to shows and I was just obsessed. And so I started auditioning as a young kid as well in the city because it's a quick hour train ride. And I just loved it as a hobby. Yeah. And so did it a lot through high school, but really wanted to go to college, went to college in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And I was a drama major there. And so it just kind of has been a part of my life since as far as I can remember. My parents say I came out with tap shoes on, and both my brothers are not into the arts at all. They think I was switched at birth. They're I don't know where it came from. But I just love it. And I just live for musicals and all that stuff, as does Liz. I know
so speaking of that, what's your dream musical role for each of you?
Alan, this is such a hard question.
I know, it's such a hard question.
How do you pick one? What's your, you want to go first? There's just so many.
I know there's so many. I think for forever, I really wanted to play Roxy in Chicago.
Yes.
And then I actually, when I had to do one of those, what was it? I'm losing my words. I didn't have lunch. I got to do this improv. I got to do this improv thing on stage, and it was the musical improv where you could play your dream role, and it was turned into my actor's nightmare. And now I will never that will never be my dream role ever again because
Why?
I bombed so bad because I didn't understand. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, and I was so scared, and it was the worst experience. Literally, I'm sweating right now remembering.
I'm sorry, I've just traumatized you again.
So now I'm like, well, so my dream role is now gone. I have to think of what my other dream role. There's so many. What is yours?
So many. I mean,
wait, so if that's your dream role, is that one of your favorite shows?
It was one of my favorite musicals growing up. Yeah.
It's so good. I mean,
it is so good.
If I had a voice for it, you know, like of course, like Elphaba and Wicked, but I can't sing well enough to be in it.
Exactly.
Or,
right.
Or either the main female leads in like Jekyll and Hyde. I love that musical. Or like, of course, like Mimi and Rent. Or
Rent.
Little Shop. I mean, there's so many. Or like either of the two, like Cosette and Les Mis. Like all of those. But it's like. You know, a girl can dream.
A girl can dream. I really played Belle in Beauty and the Beast.
But yes, Belle. Oh.
Belle.
Or but either of the ladies in Chicago would be amazing. We should do a little.
Yeah, you really should.
I would do any woman. I just want to do like the shit. Was it
pop shit.
We obviously have to go back and work on our songs. Okay.
Gotta memorize the lyrics first. It might help.
Those women in Chicago kill men. You kill men on TV. It's the same thing.
Exactly.
Typecasting. Yeah. So
one of our fans just said, love both of you ladies and your chemistry on screen as best friends. I can feel the real life connection between you.
Aww.
That's nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
So let's go back to Pine Valley. What do you remember about those? Because I assume those were auditions or possibly screen tests for those roles.
Melissa,
you want to go first?
Those were screen tests. For
go
sure.
ahead, Missy. Yeah,
you
that was
you look scared thinking about it.
Not scared. It's just like Liz described earlier. It's so intense because you're around all your competition. So there's like 7 girls around, and you're like, "Hi, girl," and it's just weird. You're obviously all there for the same part.
You're not really like you're cursing them up. Get the hell out of here.
A little bit of both. Yeah, you kind of pop them in the knee, little Nancy Kerrigan. It's fine.
Yeah.
You gotta put some laxatives in their coffee. It's no big deal. No, I'm just kidding. Or am I? I had just tested. I've told the story a lot, so I'll try to make it quick. I had just tested for 2 other soaps prior to All My Children, so I tested for Y&R for Colleen. And I'll never forget being in the coffee house set. And it's so funny how things work out, right? I didn't get it, but if I had gotten that, I wouldn't have been able to be Chelsea 10 years later. So it's like such a blessing. Like, thank you, God. So. Rejection's God's protection. So I didn't get that. And then I tested a couple months later for Lucy and As the World Turns. And it was like 7 of us.
Who was it? Lucy?
I believe Lucy. It was a doctor. Yeah. And it was 7 of us. And then it got down to 2 of us, myself and Spencer Grammer. She got it. She was amazing. And I had this feeling, I was like, it's just not meant to be. Like, it stinks. I don't want to be hostessing at the Petit Four anymore on Sunset, but like, it's okay if I don't get this. And I didn't get it. And that was like April. And then in June, I got the screen test for All My Children. And it's just so funny how things work out. And flew to New York.
Who'd you screen test with?
Cameron Matheson.
Nice.
Yeah. Joe and my closest friends. And they screen tested us on the stages of The View because we, shared a studio with The View. They were on the other side of the hallway. And it's just such a blessing. Like, it felt good in the moment. I was like, I feel like I did it. Usually like Liz says, sometimes you're just like, oh, I screwed it up. And I remember leaving being like, that's not really good. I think I did a decent job. And then I ended up getting it. And it was like changed my life forever. And I'm just so grateful. It was amazing. So that's kind of the story.
And you played Frankie first.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't screen test. I was not, again, I just wiggled myself in there. It was not a contract role. So I believe I had auditioned for Judy Bly Wilson. And I had
Did you know that character was going to be murdered from the get-go?
So they didn't tell me that she was going to get murdered from the get-go, but I did find out, I think after like a month or so, they said, so first they told me it was a 3-month contract. I think it was just a 3-month contract. I was going to have this arc. And then they kind of said, so just to let you know, this is a hard 3-month contract. Like there is no, this will not be continuing on because you are going to die. And then I was obviously crushed. I was having such a great time. I really had fallen in love with my character, with my co-stars, everything about the show. I really was enjoying myself. I was also itty bitty. I was 20 years old. It was my first job. I was living, I've now quit school, and remember, I convinced my parents that I can take care of myself. And then, the fans, they started a petition, and they asked for Frankie to stay, and they came up with Maggie, and die and come back as the twin sister.
Wow.
So I really owe it all to the fans. It was my first experience of fandom, of really seeing the power of the viewers, and
which is so interesting too, because it was before they put you together, really, with Bianca, with Eden.
Mm-hmm.
Because then that fandom, quadrupled or whatever, it grew exponentially because of, that pairing.
Yeah, exactly. And also, let's think back again, aging myself. 2001, there was barely an internet, right? Like people were writing in letters. I mean, people were pen to paper, sealing the letter, sending boxes of fan support and saying, please, we want to see more of them. And then and the Bammers, as we called them, BAM, we now we're Bianca and Maggie, and because of them, we were one of the first gay super couples.
Really incredible. How does that, how do you take that in? What does being a part of that part of, a historic storyline mean to you?
Yeah, when I was younger, I understood what was happening, but it wasn't until much later on that I really, really understood the full magnitude of what we did for women and men. But I really realized a couple of years ago, maybe actually it was like 3 or 4 years ago, they asked Eden and I to attend a convention in Vegas, and there were fans from all my children there to see many other famous now lesbian characters on TV. And we were like no one knew who we were, but everyone knew who all of these other actresses were. And we had women in line, I could cry right now, who came up to us and said that they were married because they found each other through all my children on the forums and the chats that existed, that, these little forums that they had in the back of the internet where they met their wives and that they were still together. And I think that was the moment when it really, really struck me, the impact that Eden and I had on, and that was just the few women that now, stuck with us and now went to the convention. So I know that there were many other women that were either able to talk to their parents or come out to their family members, or find a friend, or just find a friend. And these women that actually met each other and were still together and living beautiful, lives together was just, it's really like the greatest gift I've ever been given as an actress.
Wow. I think, because I worked on Guiding Light in PR. So for Olivia and Natalia, who were another lesbian couple, I think there's other folks who I know similarly, who I think met through them, which is really, the power of television. But I also think I saw that convention. I sat on a film festival panel and watched a movie called Cured. I believe it's Cured or Ahead of the Curve. which I think was a lesbian magazine. And I think they showed that Vegas festival in the movie because that magazine is so popular. And they were showing different, television couples there. So just small world. Yeah, I mean, it's just got to be the impact. What do you both think you learned from that experience of working in Pine Valley, since it was so early for both of you?
I mean, everything, like Lizzie said, she was 20, I was 24. To start your first contract role, consistent role on a soap opera is it kicks your butt into gear. Like nothing will ever be as hard ever again. Because you just have to learn so much every day, and you get usually one take to do it. So it's like, if you want to bring it, you got to bring it the first one because they're moving on otherwise. And, you're not going to be pampered. No one comes to your, room to walk you to set. There's no craft services, which is fine. Like we have like the best jobs in the world, but it's like, it reminds me of the theater. Like, it's the work and it's like, do it. You're on your own.
Get the work done, right? Get the work done. Yeah. And you, I mean, Melissa, you had David Canary. Yeah. Elizabeth worked with Susan Lucci, for your first big.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say Missy and I, we were, as she was saying, young, and we were working with these vets, and I mean, I remember getting to set and then just being blown away that I remember showing up without my script, and everyone had their scripts in their hands. And I was like, oh gosh, I'm doing this all wrong. Like, this is all wrong. What am I doing? And I mean, we were such babies. And we really did learn everything there. I mean, everything from like standing on your mark. I mean, you learn all these things. Yes. When you're in theater school, it's just different. It's just different. I mean, yes, you learn, left from right stage, which I still can't get right. Even yesterday, I was like, which way's up, which way's down? It's still dyslexic on from up and down stage. Yeah. But, like she's saying, when you're handed 20 pages of dialogue and you've just got to fly, you really just stand there and just kind of watch all these pros do it. Right. And the thing is that every day is a new day. So I'd always be like, the days that I sucked, I'd be like, okay, tomorrow I have to be better. And you kind of just, you just get better and better, and you have your moments, and some are great and but you really just kind of like learn, just figure out how to do it.
And I think doing it every day, we don't get a hiatus. So it's like, you don't get 3 months off in the summer. So your brain just starts to learn how to stuff really quickly, and learn lines fast, learn your blocking quickly. So it's just the best setup. I don't like to use the word training, because when you say it's the best training, it sounds like you're like training for something better. Like, it is training, but it's also it just gets you in shape, like as an actor. And if you
they put you, it wasn't your choice. They put you with these veterans. I know. What better way to learn? I mean,
the best.
I mean, it's school right there for whether you have trained in every, everything. Yep. It's just getting to watch people who have been doing it is for all of us a great opportunity, no matter what field you're in. Yeah. Like coming into it. Right.
Yeah. I watched all my children growing up. That was like the soap I watched when I was home. So like homesick or eating, chicken noodle soup. And so it was very surreal. Like, I just remember like pictures landing. And so when I was like in the opening, it was like, oh my gosh, this is so strange. David Canary, like you said, and Sulu, like I couldn't believe it.
Sulu, I love that. Sulu. I don't think I've ever heard that in all my years. I love that.
It was a dream. It was such a, thank God for Judy Bly Wilson, I will say.
Yes, Judy Bly Wilson.
Love talking to actors like yourself, Melissa, who will tell me and admittedly say that they used to watch the show that they're now on, which has got, I mean, that's the same. I worked on As the World Turns and Guiding Light. I grew up on them because my mother learned to speak English watching them.
Wow.
But I wasn't an actor, but it is the same feeling. When you walk in that door.
Definitely.
Yeah.
100%. It's,
definitely. I have to admit, I didn't watch them because I was like a game show junkie. No, like
A game
so
show
I would have like the same, like if you were to put me on, like supermarket, like when Supermarket Sweep came back, I was like, oh my God, I need to get on.
Wow. Have you ever tried to get on one?
But like all the game shows. I just loved the game shows.
Have you ever tried to get on one, Elizabeth?
I haven't.
We should get you on The Price is Right. It's across
I know. It's right in your
The
building,
Price
isn't
is
it?
Right, guys. Hold on.
Come on down, Liz.
Come on down.
That's so funny. You don't really.
Also, a little Vanna White.
I know.
love a little Vanna
You don't
White.
really hear that a
every
lot.
day. I didn't know you were a game show junkie as a young child.
Monkey. Yeah.
I love it.
My
What was
husband
on
really
in your
makes fun of
house?
me.
What was on in your house? Were your parents big game show or?
No, I would pretend to be sick. And I would say my stomach hurt and I just didn't want to go to school and I would just lay there and I would just, watch the game shows. My parents were at work. I was home by myself. Well, my parents, my mom was a single mom and she ran a business. And I don't know where my babysitter was. Maybe I didn't have one. I don't know. But I was watching game shows.
Yeah, she was in the other room watching soaps while you were in the other room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she was watching all my
But
children.
no one watched them in my house. I was just really into them.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's great.
Yeah.
Do you still?
I love The Wall.
Oh, I don't even know what that is. What is that?
I love The Wall. You have to watch The Wall. It's so good. I guess The Masked Singer isn't really a game show per se, but I really love The Masked Singer. I still love the classics. I love that they brought back, I don't know if it's still on, the Supermarket Sweep. I actually had an idea for Supermarket Sweep. I won't give it away because it still could have a chance, or maybe I have to call them and tell them my idea. But when it came back, I was like, someone was listening to me.
Well, you definitely need to sell a game show or host a game show. That sounds like it. That sounds like it would be your dream.
I like what you're thinking.
Well, now we have to talk about motherhood. I know both of you. You've both been very open about your fertility struggles. Do you mind sharing a little for those who are watching, so they, might learn or?
Yeah, as you know, I announced I was pregnant last week, which was thanks. Everyone's been so supportive and amazing, and it was like a real struggle for me, and it took several years, and I had 2 miscarriages, and I was very vocal about it because I just know like the feeling when you're scrolling through Instagram and you see someone's like pregnancy announcement and you're thrilled for the person. You truly, genuinely are thrilled, but you can't help feeling like you just kind of got punched in the stomach because it's like, wow, so happy for that person, but it's like not working for me. And I know what a helpless, just hard feeling that is. So that's why I wanted to make sure I was open that like, listen, this was a long journey for us too. And like, don't give up. Those were the 2 words. I used the word helplessness and hopelessness because that's really how I felt for about 4 years with our struggles. So
was there someone, because you're being open about it, which is helping other people, was there someone that you could turn to? Were there people who helped you?
My husband was amazing. My family, my friends, Liz, like I talked to everybody about it. And even, so many, when I shared about my first miscarriage in 2018, so many fans would tweet me or Instagram me or DM me, like, I'm still praying for your, I could cry. It's so sweet. Like people would be like, I'm just so strangers being like, I'm still praying for your baby. Like, that's so nice and so touching. And so just everybody's love and support. I also thought it was very funny throughout the years too, before we were even trying. I also got tweets all the time that asking if I was pregnant. They're like, I see Mom. And I'm like, no, you don't, because I'm not even pregnant. I'm just bloated. And I'm bloated. It was a bagel.
I'd be giving somebody the finger if they said that.
Yeah,
And I
like
not.
cheese and wine. Leave me alone. I eat bread and carbs. So I got that a lot. So I was very grateful to be able to finally tell the amazing
You
supportive.
should take a picture with the cheese and wine.
Yeah, no cheese, no wine these days, but I love my wine before the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Just to be, the fans were so supportive and kind of, as cheesy as it sounds, along this journey with me, because they were. And so it was just really nice to be able to share some, knock on wood, some positive news. And everyone's just been so supportive. Liz was one of the first people I told. And so yeah, I just wanted people to know that they're not alone. And it's not always, it's so easy for some people, which is amazing. What a blessing, but it's not for all of us. And so if I can share my story and help someone feel less alone, then I would.
It really is helpful, because when so many people get in their own heads and it is crushing to you. And a lot of people keep that in.
Right.
Well, yeah. And also, like, because Missy and I had we had similar journeys, but they were also very different. Mm-hmm. But I had issues as well. And I was watching all of my girlfriends like just pop out kids. And by the time I was like, oh, great. Like when I wasn't ready, they were all doing it. And then when I was ready, they're like, don't worry, you'll be with us on baby number 2. Mm-hmm. And then they're like getting ready for baby number 2. I'm like, here I go. And then it just doesn't happen for you. And I know the exact feeling that she's talking about. And it's so wild when you imagine yourself to be a mother and when you're ready and then your body just isn't ready. Mm-hmm. And it's like you're in this constant battle of like, I'm ready. I think I'm ready. And then kind of letting it all go and letting your body take over. And then sometimes you're just not in control of any of it. And then there's, and then you have to be doing tests and you have to be doing this. And it's a very weird, wild thing to go through, because there's control because there is some control. And then there's like letting go of it. Yeah. And when Missy was going through it, because I had just come out through the other side and I had the baby, and it was hard for me because I knew the position that she was in, and I would be self-conscious about I don't want to be too excited in front of her because I know what she's going through, because I was once in her shoes and I know what that feels like, but I know what she feels like. It's like, no, but I'm so happy for you. It's, and you really never realize how common it is until you start to try to have a child. Like, you just don't realize that
or to do what you're doing now, which is talk about it. I mean, the more people, that's why people don't, to share your experience really does help other people.
It helps so much. And once I realized that it was so common, and then when the more I was talking about it, women were telling me oh, I had 3 miscarriages before I had mine, or I had 1, or I had 2, but still, you're still just well, that's your I'm still trying to have a child over here, like the story, but it's so it's now finally, I think in the past few years, women have really been coming out and talking about their losses and their success stories of having babies. Missy knows how over the moon excited I am for her to have a baby. I cannot wait to see her as a mother. Now they
will be close in age.
They are going to be close in age. They are going to be married and singing and
they're getting married.
They're getting married.
They're getting married.
No matter what the sex is, you don't even know yet.
Yeah, of course. Now being a full year of and now being a mom, and it's just the best thing in the entire world. So I
March
every time
20th?
I talk about it for Missy, I want to cry for her, because it's just going to be the best, and I can't wait.
And you gave birth on March 20th?
March 27th.
27th. So we were fully in the throes.
We were 2 weeks in. We had just shut down. Sorry, we were 1 week in. I worked 2 weeks before I gave birth. So a lot of people know this. We don't need to get too into it, but Greg Rickard had COVID on my last day of my baby shower on the show. Mm-hmm. And I dodged that bullet somehow. So thankfully. And I never thought in my wildest dreams that my first experience of delivering a baby was going to be in the beginning of a pandemic. It was it doesn't even seem real, to be honest, when I talk about like what happened and how I had to spend the first night alone in a hospital by myself because he wasn't allowed to stay with me. I was really lucky he was able to be there for the birth. I was about this close to him being taken out of the hospital room. The day that I checked in, they changed the protocol to taking the fathers out of postpartum. So had I had her one day earlier, he would have been there with me for the whole 2 days. But literally, they were like looking at the clock, and 2 hours after I gave birth, he had to leave. But I don't know, there's a really wild thing about being a mom, I gotta say. Even in the first minutes of it, you just automatically just become one. And in that moment, I was just like, I got you, you've got me, and we're gonna figure it out. And I never closed my eyes for 12 hours because I was trapped in a room by myself. And I was like, are you alive? Are you alive? Are you alive?
That's scary.
But I figured it out.
Yeah.
And you just do. It's like
and what's she like? She's one now, right?
She's one. She's the best. She's so happy. I really lucked out. I mean, all babies are great, you know. But I'm obviously biased because she's my child. But she's a really happy. She eats and she sleeps well, so she's a really happy, easy baby. And I call her my security blanket. Like no matter how, if I'm ever just like not in a good mood, the minute I see her, if I hold her, if I see her, she just automatically just shifts my mood entirely. And she just like she's like my medicine. She makes everything better.
Did you know you were having a girl, or did you wait to be surprised?
No, I waited. I know. I'm sorry. No, I knew. I wanted to know, right? I had to figure out how I was going to decorate the room.
Are you going to do the same?
I do know. It's a boy.
Oh, you do? Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. I didn't realize. Oh, great.
That's why they're getting married. Well, sorry. They could have got married if they were girls. They could have got married if they were boys.
I was like, she's going all in.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is there something you both learned about yourself during the pandemic, during the quarantine, that you didn't know prior?
Oh, it's a good question. I realized I really love wine. I thought I just kind of loved it, but I realized I like really love it.
I think everybody's liquor bills were much higher in the last year than they have ever been.
That's a really good question. Liz, I don't know. You delivered a baby during a pandemic. So
yeah.
I really think I just realized how strong I am because I had a full-on mental breakdown when I realized that it was just going to be us and we had no help. We had no family. I mean, I had a serious breakdown, hysterically crying to my husband.
Of course.
Because you would have planned to have family would have visited you.
I was having a doula, all of my 3 closest girlfriends who all are like mom pros. One I had on for breastfeeding, one I had on for night training. My other girlfriend was like, I'm going to come and be your baby nurse for a few nights. And I literally was sitting back like, I can have this baby because my tribe is going to come in and take care of her for me. Like, I literally thought I wasn't going to do anything. I thought I was like going to heal. And everyone was just like going to take my baby and take care of her. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I have to do it all by myself. And no and also no family. My mom's in the East Coast. Rob's parents are in Canada where the borders were shut down. I mean, and now COVID, right? The beginning of COVID, we weren't wearing masks. We had no information. We didn't know what was going on. So we didn't even know what we could do. It was like you have an infant that's going to have no shots, that is completely exposed. So no one's coming into your house. And we did it.
And you're so good. You're such a natural at motherhood.
Yeah, I am like, wow, I'm so much stronger than in so many ways, strength. I mean, strength internally, mentally, physically. I did it, and I also loved it. I loved it. So, or maybe it was me just learning that I was like meant to be a mom.
And you were capable, I mean, it's great that you were preparing to have some help and education per se. But, we all, not all, but I mean, you were certainly thrown into of being on your own to do it with you and your husband. So like you had no choice. It really, you had no choice.
I could have ran away. Like I could have been like, I could have picked up and gone to Mexico and been like, no.
And it seems to come so naturally to you. Like you really do seem like such a natural. I haven't unfortunately been able to meet JoJo yet because of COVID. She can't bring her to the studio and stuff. But it just seems to come so naturally to you. It really does. Like you seem like such a natural.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. I don't even so much. I think you're going to see. It's like this maternal instinct that's just been like waiting to just like come out of your body. And I think also for us, Missy, it's like we've been so for so long during here that like you have now, like it wasn't like you were like, okay, I'm ready to get pregnant, and all of a sudden it happens. And you're like, oh shit. Oh, excuse me.
You can do that.
Oh shoot, it happened, like you've been, you've been like waiting and you've been ready, like you're primed. Like you're the same thing is gonna happen for you. I know it is. And if it isn't, don't worry, I'm one call away.
You could be my night nurse. Great.
Is it hard? Is it hard, Elizabeth, not being able to bring her to work?
It's the worst. I just want her running around everywhere. That was the thing. I remember, when I had my baby shower and everyone was just showering with so much love and just saying, I can't wait to meet her. I can't wait to meet her. Mm-hmm. And I would just like imagine bringing her to work when she was, when she was just like this big and going to set and people coming to see and look at her and bring her in. A couple people have seen her like from the car seat when I've come in for testing and been in the car. Not exactly the same, but the minute that I'm allowed to have her in here, I'm going to unleash her.
Yeah, I didn't even think of, of course, I mean, it makes sense, but, I mean, I think of all the actors I worked with who would bring their kids to the studio. Yeah, I mean, it's, or, had a crib in the dressing room, had a nursery or whatever. Oh, it's amazing what COVID really has robbed everybody of, so many different things, but, even a little thing like that, which is a big thing as a new mom, because you want her with you.
Yeah. I mean, you're excited. Everyone here was like touching and kissing my belly. And like, they went through it with me too. And they would just be like, I can't wait to meet her. And then, thanks to Instagram, they all know her very well. So.
And I've said this all along, but even for your family, I mean, thank God you gave birth in an era that we had FaceTime, because can you imagine grandparents not being able to see their grandchild? Like,
no,
yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, my husband's parents still have not met her in person, and she knows them from FaceTime, and now I'm really interested to see.
Yeah,
she's old enough now to kind of make the connection. She made the connection with my mom. My mom was here for Christmas, so she was with her for 2 weeks, and then she went home and she fully made the connection. She'll play like the same games with her that she was doing in person on FaceTime, which is really interesting. So I'm really interested to see how she is or is she going to be so freaked out? She'll be like, why are you so big?
The giants are here. That's so funny. One of our fans asked, would you want your children to follow you into the performing arts?
I know. It's a hard one.
It's a tricky one. Of course, like I know how like obsessed I was with the performing arts from a very young age. So I would never be like, no, because if you have that inside you, you just do. So of course I'd want them to be involved, but I don't know if like, I don't know, it's tough. I don't want them to like try to be, I don't know, Liz, what? This one. I said, I would want them to like enjoy their passion for the arts. And I would support them whatever they do. But I would hope, I mean, it's a tough business too, and it's like, I don't know. I would support whatever they want though. Liz, what do you think?
Please, you both are going to be playing musical soundtracks for them from the minute they're
Yeah, I know. It's really interesting. Like I always wonder, I'm like, is she going to get the bug? Is she going to get the bug? Because it's a long line in my family to get the bug, and I was the one who really kind of took and ran with it.
Are you already singing?
To
Are
her?
you singing to her?
Oh my! I've been singing to her since she was in the womb.
Yeah.
She is so into music, and I sing so many musicals to her, and
Well, you just answered the question. Knowing the two of you,
have a lot of her husband, her father in her, my husband in her, and he's like the complete opposite. So I'm hoping that she gets like a really good balance. And then maybe I don't know. But I worry about it too. And I feel the same. Like, I'm never going to hold my child back from whatever they want to do. I'm happy that I have the knowledge in this business to help steer her in the right direction if she chooses to go that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same for you?
Yeah, no, I concur. Yeah, I would support anything. And I think it's such a great hobby to have from a young age, like doing the school plays. Like Liz and I both obviously auditioned as like younger people in the city, and it teaches you a lot about, taught me a lot about New York, and taught me a lot about the business from a young age. But I would hope if my child is in the arts, they just do it as like I don't know. I hope they're successful actors. I don't know. It's just you just want to nurture them and keep them like.
You both are East Coasters. Are you adjusting to the West Coast? Do you like it?
I've been here forever.
2003, and then I moved to New York for 4 years to do all my children. But I've been here for like almost 20 years, so I love LA. I do.
Yeah, same.
New York will always be home, but LA's fantastic.
Yeah, same. I've been here for a really long time. I call New York my mistress and LA my wife. Because this is where I'm like healthy, take care of myself. I go to bed early. I eat well. And then when I want to have fun, I go over to the East Coast and I go to bed late and I party and I dance and I sleep late. And
do I miss dancing?
I know.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
You just have to have a dance party by yourself. You know, I do that a lot.
Now that the weather is nice and we can go outside and vaccinated, so hopefully. Are you still working with the Dharma Rescue?
Yes, I still work with them all the time. I mean, not in-person events, but
tell us about the Dharma Rescue.
Well, so all the cameos I do, if you go to cameo.com/Melissa Claire Egan, all of the cameos I do, all the proceeds go to Dharma Rescue, half, and the other half go to St. Jude Children's Hospital. So if you want a cameo, it's for charity. Dharma Rescue are these two incredible women, Susan and Audrey, who rescue animals with disabilities, and they train them to become therapy dogs, and they get them wheelchair. If they can't walk, they get them wheelchairs, and they're just incredible. These women.
How did you get introduced to them?
My friend Jocelyn and I worked on a different animal charity, and she met them and introduced me to them. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and so I just started trying to raise money because there's just a lot of vet bills, a lot of surgeries, a lot of food, a lot of weeby pads, a lot of like the doggy diapers. They really have to nurture these animals a little more than regular pups. So it's just been about trying to raise as much money for them as possible. And these women are like angels. They're just so special with these, and the animals are so happy. They're just, they just need a little extra help.
Do you have pets?
I do. My dog Sophia is 13 and a half.
What kind?
She's doing great. I get her Botox, so she looks a lot younger. It's an LA thing, No.
Are you so excited for Sophia and the baby?
I know. I'm excited to see she's going to be a good big sister.
But what kind of dog?
She's a Cavapoo, a Cavalier King Charles, and poodle. She looks like Falcor from Neverending Story, but she's a sweet,
smaller
puppy. But smaller, and she can't fly. I don't think.
Not yet, at least.
She's a sweetheart, and she's got a lot of puppy energy. So she's older, but she's doing well.
Wow. And Elizabeth, I read that you have partners, I think, in a salon. Are you still?
Yeah, I did.
How did that come about?
Such a wild idea I had one day while I was getting my lashes done by my girlfriend. And she was working out of her house, and I just said, Sarah, I don't understand. Like you can't be, you're busting at the seams. You really need to expand. You're doing like 100 women a month. It's time for you to get your own space. And she said, I know, I know I have to, I just can't do it on my own. And I said, well, you know what I really want? She said what I said, I really want a nail salon in Venice. We don't have a nice nail salon to go to. There aren't even many nail salons at all. I said, but wouldn't it be so great if we could get our nails done and we could get our lashes done? Like, why am I driving all over town to get my facial done over here and my nails done over here and my lashes done over here? And she's like, you know what? That's such a good idea. Why don't we should do it? And I was like, yeah, I think we should. And then I just started, like, the next week, I just started sending her locations of places that were available for rent. And she was like, oh my God, you're serious about this? And I was like, oh yeah, I was like fully serious. I need to find somewhere to get my nails done. I get my lashes done at the same time. And then my friend had this opening in a building and I knew about it and we went to go look at it. And actually the day that I went to go look at it, I found out that my contract was ending here and they weren't renewing it. And I walked into this building and I was just thinking, oh my God, I can't do this now. I'm losing my job. I can't just like take my money and open up this other business. Like what, I might never work.
Oops.
Oh.
I think she froze.
Hold on, Liz, you froze.
What's going to happen?
Oh,
Is it coming back? Sorry, where did I freeze? Yeah. It was like the peak of my story.
You were about to stop money. I can't give money.
Oh, okay. So I called my best friend and I was hysterically crying and telling her, I think I just lost my job. I just went to go look at this place. And she's like, Liz, you realize you have to do it because now you're going to have the time to put into this business. Like, this is the perfect opportunity. This is the time that you do it. And I was like, I do? And she was like, yes, you do it. And I did it. And it actually worked out perfectly because I was able to take that full year, maybe even a little, it was like a year and a half. And I was there every single day for 10 hours a day. And I built that business from the ground up. Awesome. And then right as a time when it was like, but finally we have like managers and employees and all of this. And it was like it was like running on itself. I was like, okay. I was able to go back to work, and the show, I actually went to General Hospital, asked me to come over there, and I went to General Hospital, and then the show asked me to come here, and I came back here. So everything always works out.
That's amazing. Congrats. Yeah. I mean,
it's gorgeous.
And we're still open. So we're still open.
It's gorgeous.
We got through the pandemic. It was not easy. We have an outdoor space, thankfully, that really saved us through most of it. So we did a lot of our treatments outside.
Oh, you were able to do things outside. Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So we moved basically our whole salon outside, and we got really crafty, and we had up a lot of umbrellas and sails, and we made it look like a jungle back there. And
it's called Ellie and Sass in Venice, right?
Yeah, it's called Ellie and Sass, which was our nicknames for each other.
Oh, amazing. That's fun.
Which one are you?
I'm the Ellie. I know. You'd think I'd be Sass. I know. You'd think I'd be Sass. It was, well, I always called her Sass. She's Sarah. I always used to call her Sass or Sassy. And we liked Sass. And then I was like, well, we can't be like Lizzie and Sass or Liz and Sass. But I had this one coach who used to call me Ellie, and I loved it so much. And I never ever corrected him because I was like, oh, I like that so much better than Liz, or always hated Liz. I was like, so much better than like Liz or Lizzie, Ellie. So I was like, we'll be Ellie and Sass. And that's
so good. So
I
good.
love that. I love that. What do you call your daughter something? Like, does she have a nickname?
Yeah. So she's Josephine James, and we call her JoJo.
Ah, I love that.
JoJo.
I love that. Oh, it's been so fun talking to you. And it's been so fun. I've been trying to watch what the fans are saying, but they're all just talking about all the scheming you two are doing. So it's so nice. Keep up the great work. One of the fans was asking, are they going to hide you behind plants and pocketbooks? And
yeah, I just had a fitting, and they're cutting a lot of my sweaters like on the sides so that it looks more boxy.
Oh, so smart.
No fitted stuff. And so they're, as of now, they're not going to write it in, but they'll just hide it, which is fine. It's kind of better, because then if you have the baby on the show, you have to like have the baby on the show, and then it's like babies are amazing, but they have to, I don't think they're allowed to have babies during COVID here. So it's just, I think it's better. Also, Chelsea's been in a wheelchair.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Snow, and also when you do have real babies here, you can only work them certain hours, so it messes up the schedule. So it's more, I'd like to deal with my baby at home, and then
wait, but there's got to be babies on Y&R right now that aren't being seen. Is that?
Yeah, everyone's in boarding school.
So they are all away. So mine is just constantly being babysat because I was pregnant on the show. They wrote my pregnancy into the show. And then the plan was actually that I was then going to, like, I was leaving for my maternity leave, but then they were going to have me have the baby. Like, after I had the baby, I was going to come back and we were going to do the birth. But COVID happened, so that never happened. And then I just kind of showed up, and then months later, so I was like basically like 16 months pregnant, and I had the baby. And then, because we kind of had like this lapse of time. And then, my baby's just so, I mean, we don't want more babies, because it's just always like someone has to the baby has to be with
plus
someone, or
right. And Mariah's pregnant on the show.
Yeah, right? We have
so we have a pregnant person already on the show. So I think that's plenty for now. So no, they're not gonna write it in. And then I don't know how they'll write me out for.
Well, and how is that person going to give birth on the show? We hope that person can give birth on the show. I mean,
no, I don't know what they'll do.
Or not with a real baby, something. I really didn't even think of that for
they've been so crafty with all of these things, and I'm sure that this is like a new challenge for them, and I'm sure they have some kind of trick up their sleeve, or maybe something wild, like something soapy will happen.
Maybe she'll be pregnant for 3 years until quarantine.
Could be.
Other things have happened,
Hey. And it might just be a year in Genoa City.
Yeah, she could give birth in a month, or she could give birth in like 3 years. It just, you can't tell.
You can never tell.
Some of the kids are 2 years old one day, and then they come back from summer camp and they're 16. Right. So, I mean, anything can happen in the soap world.
Soap opera rapid aging syndrome.
Yeah. But the writers are incredible. They always figure it out. So we just kind of go with it. But you'll just be
great.
Shirts for now.
Thank you both so much for spending the hour with me. Do you have to go back to work?
We do.
We have to go learn our lines now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, go learn your lines, and thanks for taking the time today. So nice to meet you both.
Having us.
You're so welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was so much fun. Thanks to Elizabeth and Melissa for being here today. And don't forget to watch The Young and the Restless every day, Monday through Friday on CBS. I want to tell you about something else now. SoapCon Live. I don't know if all of you have heard, but SoapCon Live and the Locher Room are bringing your favorite daytime stars to your living room with free live panels starting May 1st. Check out soapcon.com for more information and to book your one-on-ones with daytime talent from As the World Turns, General Hospital, The Doctors, and One Life to Live. We'll be having more panels throughout the year, but soapconlive.com, and I hope you'll check out the website and reach out to me for more information. Thanks, everybody. I hope you had a great time today. Sorry I'm getting tongue-tied at the end of the show, but have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.